Do you know an iconic element in magical girl shows? The transformation sequences. In almost every episode, we see the protagonists turn into their alter egos or put in their costumes in the transformation sequences, because that's how did you put on a wonderful outfit in a magical girl show. Pretty Cured is no exception to this, as the animators manages to make a lot of transformation sequences for every season of Pretty Cure. Most of them were pretty great, while others were underwhelming to say the least. Today, I want to talk about which Pretty Cure transformations I consider that as my favorites and least favorites, because for the most part, they're pretty amazing, but there's a handful ones where I think they could have been a lot better. I had a couple rules. First is that I'm only counting down the transformation sequences that you see throughout each season of Pretty Cure. That means that we're not counting any special ones done for a one-off episode or any ones you see in the movies. We also be counting transformation sequences to the main cure, so none of the extra cures get to be included on this list. And lastly, if a cure had multiple transformation sequences, example miracle and magical, I'm only counting down one transformation for each. Although because they had a different variant for the transformation sequences in varieties, I'll be particularly mentioning those variants as an honorable mention, okay? Also, since this is my own personal opinion, your favorite transformation sequences either didn't make it into my favorites list or it made it into my least favorite list. So I'm sorry for that. Feel free to tell me in the comments what is your favorite, least favorite Precure transformation sequence. But now, let's get started! Can anyone tell me why people don't like Kira's Papaya's design? Because I think she looks great. She has a good color palette and representation of what she's based on, Papayas in this case, and I really like her transformation sequence. Now, I really like their transformation sequences in Tropical Rouge on how it first begins when the Cures giving themselves a makeup and then they get their outfits. But Minori says Papaya stands out for two things. First, I like this part where Minori takes off her glasses, and while I still wish we got a cure that keeps her glasses for her alter ego, I think it fits pretty well given that how her charm point is her eyes. I like that they give green for her background because it makes her stand out from the other yellow cures that were normally had, well, yellow for the background. And I also adore the pose that she does in the end where she rolls around like a monkey and then does her iconic papaya pose. Honestly, that's the reason Minori said Papaya is my favorite of the tropical girls because she has a different personality for her alter ego. She's more calmed down as Minori but playful as Cure Papaya, which I think it makes her pretty cool. On the opposite side, when my least favorite of the Doki Doki girls and one of my least favorite cures in general, Cured Heart. Okay, so for the first three, the transformation sequences are not bad. They're simply just mediocre, the ones that didn't have a strong wow factor. The problem I had with Manasa's Heart is that Doki Doki is supposed to be a season about you shouldn't be selfish, think of the others, but the writers surely give a lot of spotlight to Mana, and you can clearly see this in her transformation sequences during the 4-group version. She's given extra effects for her transformation sequences when she gets her hair and her outfit and when she lands on the ground, something that the other cures except Ace obviously don't get. And it doesn't feel like this was added as an extra touch. Instead, this was added because Mana is the main character, therefore we need to get her special attention. Her transformation is fine on its own, it's just that the favoritism towards Cure Heart makes me dislike it a bit because she's the protagonist, we got to give her a ton of spotlight. Ah, Go Princess, my new favorite season. Sorry, Smile. All the cures in this season are S tier characters, so of course I had to include at least two on the best list. And I chose Cure Scarlet to be on the number 9 spot. There's a lot of things I love about the transformations in Go Princess, from the way the Cures put their crowns, to the background changing from their respective color to full on colors when they do a curtsy. For Scarlet, they went really hard when the fire effects, especially when she does a curtsy and we briefly see a fire when she does her transformation name announcement. Cure Scarlet is an awesome character, easily one of my favorite cures, an absolute fire princess with an amazing transformation. Absolute fire. Now we had a water themed transformation, or at least I think it's meant to be based on water. The Sapphire forms from Maho Sukai. Okay, unpopular opinion, I think this is Miracle and Magical's weakest transformation. It's mainly because I'm not a fan of the Sapphire forms. They have some solid colors, but their dresses are pretty mediocre, and the shoes, ugly. Absolutely ugly. This one just didn't click on me. Most of the transformation is just the two girls floating and getting their pieces from bubbles. Or at least I think they're meant to be bubbles because, like I said, I think Sapphire is meant to be based on water. Also, in Mirai's days, they made the transformation a lot shorter, and I can understand why they did this, as they didn't want the transformation to literally be the exact same just when the girl's all grown up. But for people who love the original, I feel they would end up being disappointed when they find out that they remove a lot of elements that they would consider that charming. Like I said in the previous spot, I love all the cures from Go Prince, but of the four girls, Minami Kaido slash Cure Mermaid is my favorite. I love her calm personality, her team on role, her relationship with Tina the Dolphin, and of course, she has my favorite design of all the cures. Plus, her transformation is awesome. I don't know how people consider this to be the weakest of the Go Princess transformation because to me, this one has the most wow factor. I mean, the way that her hair changes for when she puts on the crown, awesome. The little sound effect for when she touches the ground and does a curtsy, epic. And of course, the shell that pops out when she does her transformation name announcement. Beautiful. What I'm saying is that I don't care. To me, this is the best transformation in Go Princess because Cure Mermaid is another S tier cure, an absolute princess. I'm gonna be honest, Cure Fortune is my favorite of the Happiness Charge girls, but that's not saying a lot because I think she is an okay character, and her transformation sequence is not great. First off, the Fortune piano is my least favorite transformation device. The design is just way too kiddie, and I like when Cures had musical instruments as weapons, but Iona is a character that I don't think she would be that interested in music, so I don't know why they gave her a piano for a transformation device. I also need to address something. When the Ascension of Cure Honey thanks to her baton, I think the transformation sequences and Happiness Charge are just mid. Like, they're not terrible, but like nothing really impressive. They first get their hair and then they eventually get the rest. You know, their earrings, their cuffs, and everything. It's just that because of the Fortune piano, I consider Fortune to have the weakest transformation in the season. I get that this whole season is about fashion, but I don't know, I guess the whole idea that the Cures had this giant coat and eventually take it off to reveal their outfits is part of the reason I'm not a huge fan of these transformations. Ah, Laura, everyone's favorite diverse mermaid. You either love her or hate her, but you can't deny that her transformation into Cure Lamer is mermazing. Since she became a human for the first time in episode 17, the first time we saw her transform, we got extra animation showcasing her legs. She does her makeup in the order we see in the group transformation for the other cures: cheeks, eyes, hair, and lips. And notice that the spheres are in the colors representing the cures that had their charm points. And she then paints her nails, as her nails are her charm point. I really love how she jumps out of the ocean to say her transformation name announcement while she does a pose showcasing her legs. I know she's one of those divisive cures due to people accusing her of stealing the spotlight, but she managed to do a fantastic job when doing a transformation sequence. Okay, guys, so here's a big warning for you. The next 7 transformations that I consider as my least favorites share a very similar problem in which that's why I consider them terrible and lame. And at the number 7 spot, in which it really hurts because she's one of my favorite cures, is Cure Moonlight. Okay, I really enjoyed the transformation sequences for the other Hardcatch girls. They're pretty and fun to watch. And also, spoilers, the Cherry Blossom Princess herself, Tsubomi Hanasaki slash Cure Blossom, did not make it into the best list. But since Cure Moonlight doesn't use the heart perfume for the transformation, instead going with the heart pot, what does she do? She spins, she falls, and then turns instantly into Cure Moonlight. That's it. It's an instant transformation. Lame. But out of all these instant transformations, this one is not bad. I like some stuff, like, of course, their hair becoming brighter and the way she does her transformation name announcement.
月光に冴える一輪の花キュアムーンライト
But compared to the other Hardcatch girls, it's lame. The Moon Queen deserved a much cooler piece-by-piece transformation. Cure Felice is another one of those cures with an amazing design, and let me tell you that the animators went really hard when making her transformation sequence because, oh my god, it is spectacular. Okay, where did I start with? We briefly see her baby fairy form Hacha aging up into becoming the teenager Kotoa. Then the plants grow around her body to form her shoes and dress. I love the flowers popping up, the flower theme transitions, and the ending where she's seen sitting in a flower and she blows one in the air. I know I said flowers a lot, but that's because this transformation is just beautiful like flowers. Unfortunately for Cure Felice, we must end her segment on a bad note because in Mirai's days, they nerfed her transformation sequence by removing the unique elements like the flower's transition and the brief appearance of baby Hacha. And for some reason, it also just looks visually worse despite Mirai's days coming up 9 years after the original Maho Tsukai. Like, what happened? But I want to say my complaints for the Cure taking the 6th place on my least favorites transformations. Cure Rouge in Yes Pretty Cure 5 Go Go. And yes, I said Yes Pretty Cure 5 Go Go. Unpopular opinion, I actually like the transformations in the original Yes Pretty Cure 5. Sure, all the transformations may look the same, except for Cure Lemonade, of course, but I just love the close-ups of the Pinky Catch opening and closing, the Cure's drawing a circle, and then we see the pieces popping out. It's just really fun to watch. So how did Yes Pretty Cure 5 Go Go completely ruin the transformations? In this case, my favorite of the team, Cure Rouge. Well, for starters, the transformation theme is a lot weaker compared to the original, and the girls went from shouting, Perdika! Metamorphosis! to a generic, Perdika! Metamorphosis! Because the Pinky Catch has been replaced with the Cure mode, the girls simply push their buttons, they get teleported into a zone. In Rin's case, she gets her gloves and then gets the rest, instantly turning her into Cure Rouge. But the biggest crime that they did to the transformation sequences is the removal of the Cure's hairs changing. Why? The hairs in Yes Pretty Cure 5 were iconic. Why they got rid of that specific part? Sure, they may have given Rouge some cool fire effects, but as you saw when Scarlet at the beginning of the video, she did it much better. plus it got rid of the fire butterfly, so that's another minus. At the fifth place for best transformation sequences, we had Nyammy from Wonderful Pretty Cure, and fittingly for the season's name, her transformation is nothing but wonderful, or should I say, Neanderthal. She flies during a dimension which is this beautiful snowy night with aurora boreals in the background. She has some cat paws during some parts and she's a cat. I love this part of her face in a snowflake and her line.
仕方ない構ってあげる
I heard some people criticizing the transformation sequences in Wonderful for being too short, but all that it matters is the presentation. I'm completely okay with a transformation being long or short as long as if it is, satisfying to watch. Which is a great segue to then cover my fifth least favorite transformation. Jude on the face, night gives you something underwhelming while day brings you something incredible. Well, here we got the complete opposite because we went from one of the most beautiful pre-cure transformations to one of the most underwhelming ones when Cure Dream. I already had some bias because I preferred Cure Dream's original outfit, but remember when I said that the length of a transformation shouldn't matter as long as the presentation is satisfying? Well, here's what I'm talking about because here, Nozomi just gets her gloves and then gets the reds instantly becoming into Cure Dream. That's it. The original transformations sequences in Yes Fi were 30 seconds individually. In Yes Fi Go-Go, they have a length of 1 minute and 30 seconds. Like seriously, why they're much longer when they do almost nothing to transform? We're back at night, so you know what that means. We got another beautiful and wonderful transformation when Cure Lilian. This might be a non-popular opinion to say that I prefer her transformation over Cure Nyammy, but listen. She's got the same reasons as to what made Cure Nyamy's transformation beautiful, such as the gorgeous background and the amazing visuals, but listen to her line at the end.
怖くない怖くない
And did you notice that she got curtains at the beginning of her transformation? Well, that's because Maju is a shy girl, and these curtains are meant to represent a stage, like she's facing her stage fright because she's facing her fears. Isn't that amazing? A transformation that represents a Cure's personality? Neanderthal! And we're back at day, so you know what that means? An underwhelming transformation. Yep, unpopular opinion, I hate Cure Black's and Cure White's transformation in Matt's heart. Alright, so let's talk about their original transformation first. I think it's pretty iconic and I really like how elegant and majestic it is to see the girls slowly gaining by pieces while they become in full color. And Matt, Sarah, do you want to know how they completely ruined it? They made the transformation theme less elegant. The iconic Dual Aurora Wave theme was changed into a somewhat generic melody. The Cures no longer get their outfits piece by piece, they just instantly transform into their alter egos. That's it, super lame. And the way that the Cures land, especially Black, is just awful. Lastly, why doesn't Cure White look directly towards the camera when introducing herself? It's just weird because no other Cure does that. And when they do, like say Sword, they at least manage to do a cool pose. But here, it just ends up sticking like a sore thumb, and it becomes incredibly distracting as the more you look at it in each episode of Mass Heart. And what's worse is that even episode 22 of Hokuto, in which they brought back Cure Black and Cure White for one time, they managed to do this stupid decision into had Cure White not directly make eye contact. Yeah, this transformation is just awful and a massive downgrade from the original. It's so awful that Splash Star literally said, you know what, we can make that transformation, it said actually good. Twice! Of course, somebody from Star Twinkle needed to be on the best list, and who did I choose? Well, Cure Milky, again. Notably unique to Star Twinkle is that the Cures sing while they transform, but I specifically chose Cure Milky because her voice actress, Konomi Koara, sings like a goddess. Star Twinkle also has the girls transforming using their star color pens, meaning that they get to draw their dresses, shoes, gloves, etc. And honestly, Lada's as Milky does it the best. I mean, did you see her surfing? That was pretty cool. Or the silly face she does when her hair changes and she gets her antennas. So charming and whimsical. Overall, that transformation was simply twin cool to watch, in which I cannot say the same for the one that's in third place for the worst transformations. So, Cure Mint. Okay, I know throughout this video I'm sounding like I'm so mean to Just Pretty Purified Gogo, but that's just because their transformations are so lame compared to the ones that I had on the best list. What does Komachi do for her transformation? She instantly transforms into Cure Mint. Ion Dream, a Rouge, and Apology because wow, this is somewhat even lazier. At least when Komachi's original transformation, she actually did something. I don't understand how do people consider this transformation an improvement when she literally did nothing cool to transform into Cure Mint. She's so cool, she's so badass, she's a blue leader, she's the one and only Cure Sky. And this transformation sequence, it's so epic and awesome. First of all, future pre-Cure seasons are gonna have a really hard time topping it out because Sky Mirage Tone Connect is easily the best transformation theme. Alright, my favorite, okay? Second, the presentation is so cool. The Cures are in these disco discs. At the end, they show every angle of their appearance, and I love how their names are in the background when doing their poses. It's so awesome. And the way Sora/Sky gets her cape, incredible. Like, thank you so much, Cure Sky, for having an amazing transformation sequence for our first and currently only blue leader. And here we got Cured Aqua bringing us the complete opposite. Don't worry, this is the final transformation from Just Pretty Purified Gogo to be on the worst list. Much like when Komachi, all that Karen does is instantly transform into Cured Aqua, and we already saw how Mermaid and Lamur did much cooler transformations than her, plus they got rid of the water butterfly, so that's another minus. Oh! One more thing about Just Pretty Purified Gogo. I know Cure Lemonade is the only one that still has a piece-by-piece transformation, but they got rid of her hair changing, so that means it's a downgrade. Thus, Milky Rose is the only one that has a good transformation in Just Like Gogo. We made it, folks! Now, my number one favorite transformation in the entire Pretty Cure franchise goes to Cure Wing! Yes, that's right. My favorite transformation in the Magical Girl franchise goes to the only Magical Boy. I already talked about the things that I love about the Hirogata Sky transformations during Sky's segment, but why did I choose Wing for the number one, aside from being my favorite of the team and my fourth favorite cured in general? A. We finally got a transformation for a Magical Boy. B. Wayne is like orange cured, and let me tell you that orange is a pretty rare color as we previously only had Sunny, Celine, and Yum Yum. And C. Out of all the cures, Tsubasa's as Wing seems to be the one that has the most fun when transforming into his alter ego. I mean, look at this animation of him flying and giving a wink to you. Isn't that adorable and incredibly whimsical? So, congratulations to the Bird Prince for having my favorite transformation in the entire Precure franchise. Meanwhile, the one that earned the title for my least favorite transformation goes to Shiny Luminous. The reason is because this is easily the most disappointing transformation of the entire franchise. At first, when we hear her yell, Luminous! Shining Stream! And we listen to this beautiful music accompanied with some gorgeous animation, I thought, okay, her transformation could easily be beautiful and elegant, just like Cure Black and Cure White in the original season. Then I watched the transformation itself. It was just another boring, underwhelming, instant transformation when a couple shots of her hair and that's it. She doesn't even get to do a cool pose at the end. She just awkwardly stands and that's it. I'm sure throughout this video you might be thinking, Hime, why do you hate these instant transformations? Well, the whole thing that makes a transformation sequence cool is to slowly see the girl transforming into their alter ego. It just makes you excited because, oh yeah, it's time to have some fun action. If you just had the girl automatically turn into their alter ego, then it just ends up making the sequence incredibly underwhelming and disappointing. After Lulu joined the team, Shiny Luminous transformation was updated at the end to include a new sequence of her wearing the Hearty brooch, in which it just made the transformation honestly worse because the Hearting power-up just honestly made her slightly more powerful, but nothing too different. Also, Lulu is annoying and completely unnecessary. Hikari/Luminous was better off with just having one fairy partner, Paula. Sorry, Hikari/Luminous. I think you're an underrated character, but your transformation sequence was lame. So those were my 10 favorite and least favorite Pretty Cure transformations. What were your favorites and least favorites? Let me know down in the comments. And do you agree with my picks? Feel free to disagree. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!